Hello, friends. I welcome you to another learning workshop, part of our conflict management series. And this one is about where, towards the end of the workshop, you will learn how to have or build a polite tone. In some of our previous learning workshops, we learned about the power of polite tone and how a polite tone can really help us, something that we easily all have and that can support us manage conflict in the most effective way. But then, if you question how to really build it, so this workshop is an answer to that, where you will learn how to build a polite tone. Let's get started. Today, I come to you with some very simple yet impactful ways through which you can construct a polite tone, because not all of us are born with so much control on our tone. And since most of the times we are regulated by our emotions, having a polite tone is a result of practice. It is not something that we have either as a natural trait nor instantly. So, any of the techniques that I'm about to speak with you do not guarantee any instant results. In fact, almost each of it has only one prerequisite, which is a consistent practice. Let's see them in detail. One of the ways to bring a polite tone is through your breathing. Slow, deep breaths calm our nervous system and prevent our voice from becoming shaky or sharp. So, how do you really change your tone from loud to polite? Is that before speaking, if you just take a moment to inhale deeply, hold for a second, and exhale slowly. This small intentional pause before speaking, where you're using your breath, can help you shift your tone from whatever it is to a polite one, keeping your voice steady and relaxed. The second method to build a polite tone is to pause before responding. Taking a brief pause helps us prevent impulsive and emotional reactions. This pause is where we get the time to collect our thoughts and automatically also shift our tone. Well, then, how can we do this? There are various ways, two of which I'm just sharing with you. Count to three silently in your mind, or take a sip of water before responding, or excuse yourself. This small pause, even for 3 seconds, can help you that your tone remains polite and is not getting uh, into a kind of tone which is most likely not going to get you some good results. There are various ways to pause before responding. What I've just shared with you is just one or two of it. You can try any. Just remember to pause before responding so that the small delay ensures your tone remain composed. Third one, lowering the volume of your voice, speaking softly, conveys calmness and reduces the intensity of the conversation. So, how do you do it? How do you really build that polite tone? Well, consciously to reduce your volume, especially when the other person is louder, requires practice. But with the first two that we just learned, breathing or an intentional pause can help you lower your volume, specifically when you are into a difficult situation, and automatically helps you build a polite tone, creating a calming effect and also signals control. The next one is the use of positive and neutral language to build a polite tone. A polite tone is not just about your tone, but using positive and neutral language. Polite words like please, thank you, or I understand sets a respectful tone and reduce defensiveness. How would you do this? This comes with practice, but ensure that the language you're using usually begins with a language that is more neutral and not personal, attacking anyone or their beliefs, and is also a bit positive. Through the use of these two, you can not just build a polite tone, but also de escalate the stress in any given situation. Next, one other way of building a polite tone is to control your pitch and pace. A steady pitch and moderate speaking shows confidence and prevent our tone from sounding irritated or rushed. But then how do we really do this? This comes with practice, but one thing while you practice it is to stay mindful that you avoid raising your pitch at end of sentences, which often may sound defensive. So speak slowly and avoid raising your pitch as you conclude. This way also you build a polite tone. Next, smile. Smiling naturally softens our voice and conveys warmth, even in tense conversations. A slight smile, a slightly upward curve of your lips, even while you're speaking, can make your tone sound friendly. So, if you ever find yourself that your tone is really not very polite, add a smile to it. Next, focus on empathy. To build a polite tone, one other way of doing it is to focus on understanding the other person's perspective. And you will, the moment you get into this reflective mode where you're trying to understand the person and their perspective, you will realize that your tone naturally becomes less confrontational. Our tone has a direct connect with our intention. And sometimes when we take that required pause and approach a thing from a different perspective, this indirectly and automatically impacts our tone. Using phrases like, I hear what you're saying, or it sounds like this is important to you, can change the trajectory of the entire communication and that of conflict. One of the most in-depth method to build a polite tone is through practice of self-awareness. While self-awareness is a topic in itself and it's a huge concept. However, being mindful of your emotions helps you control how they influence your tone. So how do you do this? Pay attention to the physical signs of tensions like clenching your jaw or fist and relax these areas while speaking. One way you can also do this is if you could record your voice and listen back, you will learn how do you really sound when you're agitated or in a real bad foul mood. This self awareness about your tone or the way you spoke can give you a lot of insight on areas that you can improve on. Next, try to reframe the situation. Seeing a conversation as a problem to solve rather than a conflict reduces frustration and aggression in our tone. This is also a bit related to what we just learned regarding change of perception, where we are looking at things from a different point of view. And when we reframe the situation, again, this helps us automatically bring our tone down. So, how we do this? For this, we need to shift our mindset to collaboration, where if we ever find ourselves in conflict, approaching things with an intention to collaborate can help us automatically tone down and approach things in a more collaborative way. And as we're mirroring this, we find that these are very well received than reaching out in a more aggressive way. Finally, while all of these that we just learned do not come to any one of us on an automated basis, meaning none of us are born with these skills, these techniques, regardless of the tone, pitch, and voice we all hold. A polite tone is a result of consistent practice. So we have to continue to practice, sometimes even rehearse, just the way we rehearse some good speeches. Rehearsing challenging conversation allow us to practice keeping up tone polite and measured. This is very useful for, let's say you are a manager in a senior position where perhaps you've been an individual contributor and now you're leading a huge team. And sometimes giving feedback may require you to be assertive yet polite. So rehearsing it, a role play with a trusted friend, or recording yourself to identify areas where your tone might unintentionally sound harsh can help you build a polite tone. So friends, these are some of the many ways through which use of breath, pausing before responding, or consciously lowering our pitch help us build a polite tone. Our tone is very powerful. It can amplify a conflict and it can even diffuse it. And all these techniques are well tested and calls for a consistent practice. So I hope through this you now became aware of the power of tone that we all have access to. And with practice, will be in the future better equipped to deal with any kind of conflicts. Thank you so much. That's all for today, and I'll talk to you soon.